In an ordinary world where ordinary people led ordinary lives, there lived a man named George. George was the epitome of an ordinary man, stuck in the dreary routine of a 9-hour office job. His life was a monotonous cycle, a constant repetition of waking up, going to work, coming home and sleeping. There was an emptiness in his existence, a thirst for something more. He often found himself daydreaming, his mind drifting to fantasies of wealth and luxury far beyond his reach. George felt like an eternal loser, a man who had always been unlucky, always being on the losing side of life. His heart yearned for change, longed for an escape from grayness, an opportunity to change his fate. But he had no idea what lay ahead. Little did George know that his life was about to take an unusual turn. On a cloudy day, an unusual glow attracted George's attention. It was a coin, but not just any ordinary coin. It was a relic of the past, an ancient coin that he had never seen. Its ancient symbols and ragged edges testified to her age, but the attraction she aroused was eternal. George felt an inexplicable attraction to her, a magnetic attraction that was impossible to resist. When he picked it up, a feeling of warmth enveloped him, like an old friend welcoming him home. He couldn't figure out why, but he felt that this coin was meant for him, as if it was waiting for him. So he did what anyone in his situation would do. He put the coin in his pocket, not thinking about the journey he was going to take. The very next day, George woke up to a life he could only dream of. His boring existence was replaced by an exciting whirlwind of luck. The lottery ticket he bought, at random, turned out to be a winning one. His shares, which had previously been worthless, soared. He had been promoted at work, and his bank account, which had once been a pit of despair, was now overflowing with wealth. George was rich, richer than he could have imagined. But with each passing day, his new wealth did not bring him the happiness he expected. Instead, it filled him with a sense of dissatisfaction, a suspicion that something was wrong. He couldn't shake the feeling that this sudden good fortune had a dark side, a side he hadn't discovered yet. Thoughtfully, the magical glow of the coin flickered in his mind, her mysterious attraction growing stronger every day. It was a constant reminder of the day his life took a turn, the day he entered the world of the unknown. Life finally smiled on George, but was it really luck, or was there something more sinister? While this thought was ringing in his head, little did he know that the answer was about to manifest itself. With wealth came the life George had always dreamed of. But soon, he began to notice strange phenomena. George, once a man confined to the dreary routine of office life, now led a life of luxury, enjoying the splendor of his new wealth. Riches that seemed to have originated from a magic coin, a coin that once belonged to him, but now seemed to own him. Wealth was irresistibly alluring, but the attraction was fading fast. The old sweet dreams of profit have begun turning into nightmares that haunted George even when he was awake. He woke up in a cold sweat. The images of monstrous figures and gloomy hands reaching for him were still vivid in his mind. The nightmares were relentless, and this was just the beginning. As the days turned into weeks, George's reality began to distort. He began to see things that should not exist outside the world of his dreams. Hallucinations invaded his waking hours, a constant source of anxiety. His luxurious mansions seemed to come alive. The walls whispered secrets, the shadows danced with their lives. Fear was a constant companion, a cold reminder of the strange events that now marked his life. His suspicions grew, suspicions about the true value of his new wealth. Could it be that the magic coin, the supposed source of his wealth, required payment? Are the prices much higher than he originally thought? The price that was slowly consuming him from the inside out? The more he thought about it, the more pieces of the puzzle began to add up. Nightmares, hallucinations, anxiety, they weren't random events. They were part of a bigger, more sinister plan, a plan that slowly revealed the dark side of his wealth. His dreams of luxury turned into a sleepless night. He was locked in a gilded cage of his own making. His wealth, once a symbol of his success, was now a harbinger of his downfall. The dark side of wealth was unfolding before him, and George was its unfortunate victim. George was desperate. He wanted to get rid of the coin, but it was already too late. Our friend George, once a nobody, now a man of unimaginable wealth, found himself in a cold, troubled position. He was trying to get rid of the coin, to free himself from its magic, but the coin had other plans. It was as if she had her own mind, a dark will that refused to let go of him. He threw it into the depths of the ocean, only to find it among his trifles the next day. He buried it deep in the ground, but it reappeared, flickering ominously on his bedside table. He threw her into the blazing fire, but she came out unscathed, almost grinning at his futile attempts. With a sad heart, George began to understand the terrible reality of his situation. His life is now inextricably linked to the coin. The wealth she had brought him was not a gift, but a curse, a merciless trap into which he had entered with open arms. He traded his simple, inconspicuous life for a moment of wealth, to be turned off by the very thing he craved. Initially, his life was his own, and now it belonged to the coin. He was a doll dancing on golden ropes, his heart pounding with fear with every beat. Every passing day was a painful reminder of his stupidity. Every night, a struggle against the nightmares that haunted him. His new wealth, once a source of joy, now filled him with horror. The coin, his precious possession, had become his most feared enemy. He dreamed of a life of luxury, but got a life of horror and despair. The brilliant appeal of wealth blinded him, led him into a trap from which there was no way out. His dreams of splendor turned into an endless nightmare, a terrifying story about a man who paid the ultimate price for his ambition. In the end, the coin took what was owed to it, a stark reminder that the appeal of wealth has a price, often much more than one can imagine. Our friend George, once a simple office employee, stumbled upon the path of golden opportunity, a path paved with a magic coin that seemed to turn his life into one of luxury and splendor. But as the sinister nature of the coin was revealed, George's life turned into the darkness of the abyss. The coin, the owner of the dolls, who pulled the strings of his life, demanded his own, and thus took what was owed to him, the life of his bearer. George's existence has become a creepy tale of desire and greed, a disturbing narrative about the high price that wealth can cost. His life, once full of simplicity, was exchanged for a fleeting moment of wealth, only to be extinguished by the very thing he craved. George's story serves as a terrifying reminder. Not everything that glitters is gold, and sometimes the price of dreams can be a nightmare.